All right, we're back. Once again, my name is Sunny Ray. This is the Sunny Ray Show. Today I'm joined by a special guest, Aryeh. Aryeh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited to be here, and it's a new experience, especially with you, Sunny.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm pretty pumped as well. I love our title. Something that my Twitter handle used to be Sunny Startups. I changed it to Sunny Ray, my name, but that was my Twitter handle for like 5 or 6 years. So I'm just infatuated with startups and everything to do with startups. So happy to dig in. In terms of like format, like I said, I'd like to just kick it off with the guest sharing, a couple sentences on Tatum Goodman and Associates, right? So the company you're building, maybe just call it the pink elephant, and then we'll put that topic on ice. And like I said, I have a bunch of questions prepared. We can maybe revisit the thing we were talking about just now, but kick us off by telling a little bit about your company. Yeah.
So, what happened is my wife, who is Tatum, and is the CEO. Um, she was originally, we both from South Africa. She left to come to the States when she was about 17, moved to Manhattan Beach in California, um, and studied art at UCLA, and then decided that she wanted to go into law. So she got a law degree as well, and came through to Israel about um, over 20 years ago. And she's involved in IP and business contract law. And one of the things that was identified, and not by chance, was that a lot of her clients were saying, okay, we've got this great idea. We have a great team. Help us. So she started setting up relationships with family funds in Switzerland and in the US and actually all over the world. And one of the things, kudos to her, is that she's even been chair lady of the US Trade Commission twice, which to me, we've met a lot of people through that. But it also just shows the caliber of person that she is. Maybe you should be interviewing her instead of me, but I'll take the chance to talk while I can. Um, One of the things that I then joined, my background is from basically sweeping floors in a retail environment, all the way up to owning my own business and turning it from red into the black. So I kind of touched many different areas. I love business. I love the creativity. I love the challenge. One of the things I've learned from everyone I've worked with, working underneath me, with me, above me. Everyone's got something to teach you, and to me it fascinates me that someone who um, is passionate about what they're doing is normally going to be far more successful than someone who's doing it because they want to make money. In fact, they did a test at university um, where they asked people what they wanted to do, and they re-looked at them 5, 10 years later to see how they'd done. And those who were passionate about what they were doing made money, and those who were doing it to make money just didn't achieve the same results. So it tells you a lot about a personality when they're passionate about what they're doing. Getting back to Tatum Goodman, I built on with my experience. Having been in commercial property, you learn a lot about people, who kicks tires, who's really serious to do something, who's wasting your time. Because at the end of the day, as an uncle of mine said, who used to be the chairman of a bank, he said, the one thing you cannot give someone back is their time. So don't waste it and make sure that you use it effectively. So I'm quite conscious of that because I respect the person who told me. Um, anyway, so I joined Tatum. We've then built our network further to Australia, to Singapore, to Japan, all over. I love that we get to meet different people from all over the world. Getting back to your original question about what makes a startup interesting is that I think the first step is, does the person eat, breathe, and sleep what they want to do? Is it something that they get excited about? Is it something that even when they're on holiday, they go and look at other competitors or similar industries, because that for them is excitement? It's a hobby. It's not I'm working. It's I'm curious about this that I'm doing. How's this guy doing it? What ideas has he brought to the table? There's a lot of lateral thinking that's involved. That if you look at today's society, who's most successful? People who are lateral thinkers, especially with the AI programming, with access to knowledge from all over existence. It's the lateral thinker that's going to do better than someone who's linear. Why? Because it's not a prescribed playbook. Everything's being disrupted. Everything is beyond our traditional understanding. And it's someone who says, okay, well, I see pain in this area and I want to fix it. And that's going to make them successful. Because as I used to say to people, the days of stealing are finished. What do I mean by that? You need to add value. If you can't add value in what you're doing, then why are you doing it? It's essential in whatever you're doing, whether it's being a parent, being a family member, getting involved in your business. You need to add value. And if you can't add value, then what are you doing there? It's not what your gift is to bring to this world. You got to work on where your gifts are and what you're good at. And comparing yourself to someone who's not you is, I think it's not constructive. And the reason I say that is because you're not that person and you're never going to be that person. So you need to be you doing what you're good at. Carrying on with just filling in the details to get to the point. I'm laughing at myself because normally I don't like to do that. I like to go straight in. A person who I think is going to do well is someone who understands who their customer is. If you don't understand your customer, if you don't know I know that some people say that Steve Jobs, he created and people followed. But I think on a certain level, he understood what people wanted. He did understand his customer. They wanted something beautiful. They wanted something that looked sleek and beyond its time. It was the way he functioned as a person. So if you're going to have a business that you can see value in and the people around you are getting excited, I'll tell you why I say this, because I've had this burning experience that I twice have set up 2 startups and didn't validate. People said it was great. They all said, wonderful idea. It was a product called We Buy As One, where you could use a community, almost like a Costco type of setup, where you could use a community to get discounts on products. If I said to you, you have to spend the equivalent of $30 a year to be part of this community, where you're getting discounts. If there's a problem, you have a group behind you that can fight with, threaten to take the business as a group away. It on paper, it makes sense. When you speak to people, when you're checking, it all makes sense. What was the problem? I wanted to start in Israel. I wanted to ask them, once I'd set up everything, spend a fortune of time and money, and everything was set up. I even had the clients, the suppliers, everything. I said to someone, okay, would you be prepared to pay the $20 a year? I said, no, we Israelis now, we don't believe that we should pay $20. I said, but you're getting a saving on everything. It will pay itself back by the end of the year, 5-fold, 10-fold. No, no, we don't believe in paying for this. And that was my lesson. I could have saved myself a lot of time, money, and effort by checking that what I wanted to offer. That's why I like pilots when I'm dealing with someone who's got an idea, because if someone's actually using your product, can show you that there's value, is able to give you a testimony on it, that is a business that has legs. If they haven't got a pilot, then at this stage it's an idea. And if you read books on ideas, 2% of ideas ever in the world reach manifestation.
So Arya, my question was, what does Tatum and what do you guys do in a
Oh,
in
I
a
went
sentence or
on
two?
it in a
In a
sentence or
sentence
two.
or
Sorry,
two, yeah. So
got
just so
excited. I was
I appreciate all the we're gonna get into all that, but I like to kick it off just so people know. So maybe
okay.
I'll take a stab at it. You guys are an investment boutique bank, right?
We are an
Or a
investment.
boutique investment bank, rather, right?
We're involved in investment banking. We're involved in the point of view of strategic partnerships.
Got it.
I'll give you a, for instance, we had a STEM playground, kinetic energy to get kids off their computers and laptops, and get people to reconnect as a family in a physical environment. So
So
it's all
you're so investment banking, that's interesting. And maybe before we move off this topic, like what's
yes.
the overarching kind of thesis of the investment bank? Are you guys, I saw you have an interesting portfolio of companies you've helped, but what's the overarching kind of thesis?
What's important is if I'm not prepared to invest in it, I can't help. It's about finding strategic partnerships. It's about leveraging your brand into a brand that's more well known, ideally to work with as a partnership. It's finding the right board to represent you on your product, your company. People associate whether we like it or not. It's the difference that if I know someone who's a consultant to government and mayors in the US, he can get into places that, yes, I could, but it's going to take me 5 to 10 years to get there, as opposed to using him to create an introduction. So there's a lot of strategy involved that I don't know if you can learn it, but it's like, as Tatum likes to say, politics and business work together. Whether you like it, whether you don't, at the end of the day, it's if you look, the first lady in the US is having all the first ladies come to the White House. Google's going to be there, Meta's going to be there. So suddenly you're in an environment where you have access to the top people in the world.
So you help these startups get that kind of access? Is that
We have
what I'm
access
hearing?
to those kind of
Very
people.
interesting.
Yes.
And then take me through. Well, I mean, first of all, I was going to ask you a little bit about growing up in Johannesburg. What was that
Sure.
like as a young boy?
So I must tell you that I was fortunate to be on the other side of apartheid, from a point of view that we had good schools, we had good education. It was a very sheltered life, a very conservative life. They had censorship. There was no such thing as pornography. The bottle stores didn't open on a Sunday. The Afrikaans government was very conservative and very controlling. So you didn't have call it the exposure that today kids have to the world. You were sheltered. And if you speak to some South Africans who come out of that bubble, it's mind blowing. I mean, if, as I said to someone the other day, if you can imagine, you don't have to be very wealthy, but you've got 2 servants in your house, or even 1 servant that helps to clean, that helps to iron, that helps to cook. That's, you're looking at the world very differently than when you're in a normal Western society where it's your responsibility to make your own bed, to help fold the washing and everything else. It gives you a different perspective. So if you look at the upbringing from that perspective, I was one of the privileged. And unfortunately, where the mistake was, and I'm sorry I'm getting a bit political, is that you need to educate people. Because if you don't educate your population, you're not helping people to have independence and to think for themselves. It's kind of a limited mindset. Just to put it in perspective, in case people think that South Africa was backwards and that there were giraffes running in the backyard, it wasn't the case. They actually were the first to create diesel as a product. They had a nuclear facility that they'd created their own atomic infrastructure. They were in some ways more advanced than America in the days that I grew up. They were the first to have electronic banking, ATMs, that type of thing before anyone else in the world. So their banking system was first world. Things fell apart afterwards. I discovered, funny enough, apartheid when I went to university, because it wasn't something that had ever, until something's uncomfortable, you don't question it. It's human nature. But as soon as it's uncomfortable, then you become aware of things. And suddenly I was in a class where there were people who had gone through a really tough time.
I bet. So are you just to kind of switch gears a little bit? When
Yeah,
when did when so I was reading about your past. It's quite interesting. You started a company called Vid. Is it Vid Live Support? Was that the
it
name?
was good life. It was when AI was coming out.
Right. So talk about how did AI come into your radar, and what was that business about? Maybe double click on it a little bit.
Okay, so Vid Solutions was basically I had a problem in my shower, and I thought to myself, well, I just want to film it, and I need help. Like, can I fix it myself? Do I need to call someone? Is there an option here to be able to solve it? Because what for me is great about AI is I can point my camera at the problem without knowing what the problem is, and it then tells me you have this issue, because not everybody is brought up in an environment that they taught something. I mean, if your car's not working or your cell phone's not working, you don't know how to ask the question. I think one of the key things of life is being able to ask the right question. If you don't know anything about what you're asking about, then how do you ask the right question? So it's for people like me who don't really, like, I know enough to say, I see there's water leaking out of the shower, but let me point the camera at it and let it tell me what my options are. It could say you need to call a plumber, or turn off the mains, go here, this is where you do it. You need to get a fitting, these are the shops you can go to. It's basically a platform to help people at home, especially with the economy being what it is for a majority of people. They're looking to cut costs, they're looking to save money. So how do you help that person? I'm very, what is the word, people conscious, that the more that you can help those around you, the better it is for everybody. There's enough for everybody if everybody just took the time to project what they're doing to everyone's benefit. And that's, if you look at the unicorns, it's all about finding the right ingredients that many people are looking for.
So Arya, you're also a licensed NLP practitioner. Is that correct? So how does neuro linguistic programming connect to
So
your
it's not,
work in?
it's neural. Sorry. I wasn't sure, because some people think NLP is programming as in computers, but it's not.
No,
It's
neuro
pro.
linguistic programming, right? This is the Tony Robbins kind of stuff, or not really?
So I went to Tony Robbins and
Oh,
I
you did?
walked,
Wow, cool.
yeah.
Mhm.
I walked on fire, and I thought, this is nonsense. It's impossible. my feet weren't burnt. I thought, okay, maybe they don't do it properly. It's like you walk on there, but they've let the fire drop down so much that anyone can walk on there because they give you a state of mind. They help you to get into that state of mind, and you walk. Anyway, I walked across. I thought, I know I walked across there. You don't look at what you're doing. You're just focused on in your mind on the scenario, and you get to the end, and I was fine. The girl behind me, not that I was happy and sad. Sad that she had a blister, but happy that I could tell it was real. She had burnt her foot. And I said to her, how come you burnt your foot? She said, because I didn't believe I'd be okay. And that's a very powerful switch in the brain that when you understand how much your own thought process affects your achievement, it's worth spending time on it. So getting back to NLP, Tony Robbins spoke about a lot of about NLP and how he cured people and all that kind of stuff, stopped people smoking. And I thought to myself, one of the things that I've picked up in my journey of life is if you want to learn something, go to the source. Don't rely on other people's interpretation and their understanding. Rather go to the person who created it. So I went to Dr. Bandler, who was one of the co-founders of neuro-linguistic programming. And in short, I'll explain it to you this way, because relationships, this is the perfect identification. There are three ways that you're talking to your wife in the process. So some people are visual. So if I want to show listen to the words, if I want to show my wife that I love her, I need to give her flowers. That's a visual communication. If she's auditory, she says, you don't love me. Why? Because you didn't say the words, I love you. Kinesthetic, which is the third type of communication, you need to give her a hug. Then she knows you love her, if she's kinesthetic. So if you're not communicating aligned with what the person's primary, we have all of it, but there's primary ways inside our brain that we process information. So if you want to change a pattern in your brain, you need to understand, how do I process information? Am I auditory? Am I visual? Or am I kinesthetic? That affects how you communicate. It affects how it's sometimes like you feel you're not gelling with somebody. Why? Because you may be communicating in visual lingo, so to speak, and they are auditory. So you saying to them, do you see the picture? And they saying to you, it doesn't sound right. And you say, okay, and you go back to the visual communication, but you got to start communicating in auditory process, because
Yeah, it's
that's
subtle, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's interesting. I'd never thought of that. Cool. I mean, the mind is, very powerful. And Tony, I came across his work when I was in university
yeah.
20 plus years ago, and it always kind of stuck with me, I guess you could say. Like the whole idea of personal power and kind of like personal development is something that he was probably the one that planted that seed, but something I've carried with me many years later. Hey, I was gonna say, so just to keep moving on, right? So you've written about AI and imaging for preventative medicine, right? I guess, well, is that true? Or
So I haven't written about it. I don't know why it said that.
okay,
AI lies. It just shows you have to check your
well,
details.
that's why good thing I checked with you. Yeah.
Um, so
maybe you
what I
got
can
that one
say
wrong.
is that I've helped companies who deal in AI with preventative medicine,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
and and where that comes in is they've managed to use AI to work out what doctors are now discovering is that nutrition affects your body.
Sorry,
So,
it just sounds such a funny statement. Doctors are just realizing that nutrition affects your body.
well, why say it like that? If you go
Yeah,
back
I
to
get it. Yeah.
traditional, if you go and speak to the grandmothers of societies,
Sure.
and they say you should put ginger and tea in your coffee, I mean in
Yeah.
your tea,
Yeah.
and that helps a cold, and that's great. And now they say no, go and take antibiotics. But if
Mm.
if you understand food and you're able to incorporate it in a balanced diet, you there was a guy I enjoy. At one stage I was very mad about running, and I was trying to look for more energy, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he went to study runners all over the world, and he said that the Greeks used to outrun the Nazis in World War II because of their diet. It was based on a lot of protein and salads. There wasn't a lot of carbohydrates. And that's, some people talk about the protein diet, but one of the things that you can do to discover inside yourself to maximize your performance is that if you cut out all carbohydrates, all sugars for 2 weeks, and then you bring in food groups into your system when you have an energy drop, that tells you that's not good for me. My body doesn't process it. If your energy remains stable and consistent, that's good for me. So it's working out inside yourself what feels right. Take for
So
instance, if you have a
where
sugar.
I missed that then. So I get that, but where does the AI come in?
So where their AI has worked out is, for instance, dry eye.
Okay.
There's dry eye is a problem that people experience.
Sure.
They've managed to work out the nutrients. They've taken the molecules, put them together. You put it in your yogurt, and after 2 weeks, the problem of dry eye is disappearing. And they're now working on diabetes and weight loss and depression. So it's fascinating to me that natural nutrients that are found in the right combination using AI, they've managed to create a product that helps people. So you're not the problem. Like if you take antibiotics, let's just take it to a simple level for me. If I take antibiotics, I have to take I think it's called Interflora, or I've forgotten the name, but I need to take it to rebuild the microbiomes, the bacteria in my stomach, because the antibiotics kills it. This is designed to help the bacteria in your, like I was talking about, eating certain foods. So everyone as an individual has a certain way they process from communication, as we were speaking about NLP, to food groups. Some people like meat, some people don't feel good when they eat meat. It's you being conscious of your body's being. What's great with the AI is they saying that because nothing's 100%. Anyone that claims they got 100% on something's lying. There's no absolute of 100%. But if you're getting 80% or 90% results with people, let's say 80% because that's probably more realistic. If you're getting 80% success rate with people, that's a good product.
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
AI based is what's created this, because the amount of data that's involved to combine to find this. I mean, I'm dealing with a company that's using AI for cancer. They're able for cancer, as well as AI for testing medicine on people's blood before giving it to them, because normally it takes 6 weeks if you're taking medication to see if there's a reaction or if it's benefiting. And here, within 3-4 days, they know this is good for you or no, it's not. So it's, although we all say we're human, each person is a universe that's totally unique.
Hey, Ari, do you guys also have robotics companies in your portfolio?
Yes. So um, I'm dealing with some guys who enjoy space.
Hmm.
And what they've worked out, in fact, two of the companies is very interesting. There are a lot of these advanced companies that are still using Excel spreadsheets to work things out. And you could say, well, but it works. Yes, it does work. But if you could halve or drop your time to 20% of what you were doing before, surely that makes sense. We're moving, I don't know if anyone's ever discussed with you the J curve.
I might have come across it, but what is
Okay,
that?
so basically, if you look at the J curve, is basically that in the beginning there's a gradual growth in culture, mankind, technology, and suddenly it arches into a vertical line. And that's what's happening. If you look at technology today, if you're not using AI in your business, if you're not using tools to make you far more productive and efficient, you're not going to be able to keep up with the momentum that's going on today in the world. It's unfortunate. It's, and
Hey,
people are scared of it, like my nephew. He says he doesn't like AI. He thinks it's a shortcut. He thinks it's going to take over people's jobs. And I said to him, "You're right. It will take over some people's jobs, but if you know how to use it, it still needs you to apply it. A tool is good and bad depending who's using it. It's not. It's your choice what you do with it. If you're using it for good, you're going to create good from it. If you're using it for bad, then you're going to create bad. But the tool is there. And if the guy next to me is using the tool and I'm not, how do I compete against him to win the race?"
yeah, it's going to be a tough one. So I guess maybe help me land the plane from 5 years from now. What does Tatum Goodman look like? What's the
So
big bet you're making on the future?
my bet is, we were having this discussion earlier because I thought, what can I look up on AI to tickle your fancy? And the story that came up is, imagine in 10 years' time, someone who owns cryptocurrency, who has a fleet of robots producing for him, using AI to maximize his productivity. That person would be more effective than a mid-sized company today. That's the reality of where we're going towards. And the reality is that person would be far more independent than someone who's stuck in today's system. If you look at technology and if you look at knowledge and if you look at everything else, it's all independence. It's not, if you might not have educated yourself in a particular format, but if you want to go and learn about that subject, it's all there. If you're saying, I didn't have the previous privilege that other people did, nonsense. You can go and learn it on the internet. You can find podcasts, you can find YouTube segments. Anyone who's making an excuse that their background affects where they are now is cutting themselves short in what they can achieve. And where will Tatum Goodman and Associates be in 10 years' time or 5 years' time? I would like to get to a point where we have a network, but a network that is on AI, because I want to be able to immediately use AI to access my database to see if something's relevant to someone, that someone can add value to. and that we basically are able to bring more unicorns into this world, or second or third tier in their vertical. I have people that can take um, companies through IPO for large amounts of money. I have people such as Charles and yourself creating incredible podcasts, creating incredible opportunities through your mail system. We have such tools available to us. The question is, are you utilizing it, or are you scared of it? Are you prepared to integrate yourself with it, make mistakes with it? Because at the end of the day, anyone who's not prepared to make mistakes can't grow. It's really the reality of life to expect yourself to be. I had a director that I used to work with said the only place or the only business where you start on top and go down is a mine.
That's funny. I like the vision you put forward though, you know, owning Bitcoin, having a fleet of humanoids, and then using AI to be hyper efficient. I feel like that's the world, the direction the world's moving. And I do agree though. I think a lot of people are fearful of it. I don't blame them because there is a lot of talk in the news and amongst people that are very smart, right? Including the people who are building this tech, saying that, hey, look, this could go terribly wrong as well. So I can empathize with that viewpoint. And part of why I'm creating content in my little corner of the universe is because yeah, like you said, you know, I do feel that it's inevitable, these emerging technologies that we spoke about. Um and if we play our cards right, then it could lead to a beautiful world, right, for our children, for our grandchildren, and for ourselves, most importantly. So I'm here for that future. I'm all I've got I don't know, surrounded by about 8 monitors. I do feel more and more though that technology is, when I think about like fundamentally how, you know, Bitcoin works or how AI works or robotics, is that they are tools designed to help us do more of the things that we are probably wired to do, like maybe spend time with our kids, or maybe hit the gym, maybe go for a swim, maybe go for a walk with your wife, maybe I don't know, read a book, right? Like these things. So I'm hoping that it's gonna just create room for art and space for relationships and for, you know, a future that's that I'm personally very, very excited about. Yeah. And then I'm happy that there's people like you out there building towards a similar future.
Well, I must say to you, and I joke with my wife because I say to her, I can't wait for our robot that's going to come home. I said that cleans the rubbish, that cooks if it needs to cook, that washes the dishes, unpacks the dishwasher. In fact, I was talking today that it would be so great, not that I've experienced it, but that the and Tatum did say to me there are such fridges out there, but I haven't yet experienced it or heard anyone who's got one that could scan your food as it's like if your cream cheese is half empty and you know that you're consuming half a container a week, then you're still okay for another week. But if you consume a container a week, it's time to order it online from the shops. And you
Yeah.
don't need, it's got all your details. You don't need to even have a headache about it. It arrives, the robot takes it, unpacks it, puts it in the fridge and the freezer for you. It's you're able to ask it tomorrow. I'd like fries with sausages, and tomorrow the robot's got it. Everything's in the system. So yes, you're going to suddenly have time. The question is, are we as humanity going to focus on fear and all the terrible things that we can do to ourselves, or are we going to focus on good things that help us? Because really, the way you focus, if you think of it from a sports analogy, if I believe I'm going to score that goal, I'll score it. If I believe I'm going to miss it, I'm going to miss it. So, are you focusing yourself in a direction that's constructive and you're building yourself in a constructive manner? Or do you want to work in a world of fear base where your thoughts and processes are all about being hurt and protecting yourself? In which case, that's the experience you're heading towards. You can't help it. Yeah, quantum
Yep.
energy and all that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, I recently went down the rabbit hole with Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's
He's
been
brilliant.
blowing my mind. I read his book several times last year. I let's land this one. I got a hard stop. Thank you so
Okay.
much. You've been gracious with your time. We kind of doubled my usual
Sorry,
time,
I
but
went
at the
all over
same
the
time,
place.
these are topics that are fun for me, and you've got a delightful personality. So, Arya, have a good rest of your day. Thank you for
Thank
everyone
you.
who checked in and watch the live stream, and everyone else in the future that watches it. Until next time, bye bye, everyone.
All the best. Take care. Thanks, Sonny.